Hey guys, welcome to another episode of She Knows Arsenal. My name is Jessica and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at It's Jessinho. Today we're going to be doing our post-match show for our game against Aston Villa, our loss against Aston Villa. We're starting to rack up those losses, so we're going to kind of do the rundown of the show. And Albert is going to be joining me. He actually just popped up in the queue, so I'm going to add him in after the intro. So let's go ahead and get started. If I could just find it. What up?
What's happening, Jess, man? Good to be on.
I know. Thank you so much for being here. I super appreciate you giving me some of your time.
Of course, I was going to return the favor, man, without a question.
How's it going today? How are you feeling?
You know what? I with Arsenal, I kind of get it out of the system a lot quicker than I used to before. Because when you're used to disappointment, man, it's easy to kind of get over it a bit quickly for me. Anyway, I don't let them ruin my weekend too much, Jess.
I mean, at this point, we have to kind of separate, and not let them take over our entire lives, because this season has been a roller coaster so far.
Yeah, I saw your tweet yesterday.
Yeah. I'm starting to do better now. I'm starting to just get up as soon as the game is over and try to go do something, because if I don't, I'm just going to sit there and be angry. But I wasn't able to watch any other games after our game. I still was a little bit bitter, so I'm still working on it. I'm a work in progress for sure.
That's all right. As long as you're all right, that's the main thing.
Exactly. So I wanted to do just like a rundown of the game, and then we're going to talk about some more macro issues in regards to Arsenal, because I feel like that would be the best use of our time. The game there wasn't much in it, so we'll just quickly go through it. So in your opinion, what led to that goal in like the first 2 minutes of the game? Did you think that it was a little bit of just like not being ready for the game to start, a miscommunication between Cedric and Gabriel? And how did you see that goal?
Well, you know what, this season, in terms of Arsenal starting games well, has not been very good anyway. And to compound it even further, I mean, a minute and 30 seconds in, man, it's unbelievable. Like, the thing is, I saw people on like Twitter. You know what? I say to people, don't always go by Twitter world, man. Just go with your own eyes, honestly. Because I see people trying to lay some blame at Gabriel. I'm like, no. I said Cedric left the guy short, man. And then Traore is a quick guy. If he gets half a second on you, he's gone. Right. But then when I watched the goal again, I thought, what's Rob Holding doing? Like, who are you marking? Because you're not doing zonal marking. You must be able to see where Ollie Watkins is positioned the minute that ball goes across the 6-yard box. So, oh man, and then Watkins didn't even hit it that well, because if it wasn't for the deflection, Matty Ryan would have saved it.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, the positioning, Cedric poor, and it's a shame because he's been doing all right a few last recent games. But you have to look at position and Rob Holding, man.
Doesn't it kind of seem like the senior players, we get maybe 2 or 3 games out of them before they crap out on us? That's what it kind of seems like. It seems like we get 1 or 2 decent games, then all of a sudden it's like, boom, they've crapped out. That's what it seems like with Cedric to me. He, like you said, he's been doing so well, but yesterday he didn't look that great. It was like a constant reminder of how badly we need Tierney. Not having him it's hurting us, I think. I don't know what happened to Cedric, but in regards to like what you said with Holding, I think that particular partnership of him and Gabriel isn't as strong as maybe him with Marie or even him with David Luiz. In your opinion, at this point, like if you had to pick a center back pairing, who are you picking?
God, this is what it's gonna sound like a weird reply, but it's actually an easy decision. But actually, it being an easy decision is not really saying much about the defenders at Arsenal,
right?
Because I mean, if you see my content, people that have seen it, listen, I've been very consistent with my views about Rob Holding. People say, yeah, he's a good squad player. And I'm like, well, me personally, no, I wouldn't have him in the team and I wouldn't have him in the squad. But if I'm picking a centre-back pairing, I would go for it would be Rob Holding and Gabriel. I think Mari was brought in personally as a cover fullback, but personally speaking.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think in the beginning of the season, that's what I thought too. But I'm almost like remembering how Holding seemed to perform better with thinking defenders, like Mertesacker. He did better in those types of positions. And I feel more comfortable with him and Marie. That being said, they played in some of the easier games, against like West Brom and stuff like that. Yeah. So maybe a level of competition, wasn't as good, against Marie. Like we haven't really seen Marie against top opposition yet, but personally I feel like a little bit more comfortable just because I think Marie has some leadership qualities. Yeah. But I'm questioning Gabriel just a little bit because, and maybe it's the COVID, it's taken him a while to get back from it, but he just doesn't look the same, but I'm sure he'll come good.
No, that's a good point with Gabriel. Like, people got to understand with the COVID thing, even if you look at Newcastle, right? And even Villa, to be honest with you as well, Jess, like when I did my match preview with like the guy from Villa, he was saying like Villa haven't been the same really team-wise since the beginning of the year. But he said obviously they had a massive COVID outbreak. Right. With Newcastle, St. Maximin and like Jamal Lascelles were out for ages. So the COVID hit them hard, man. So people got to bear that in mind that with Gabriel, and also, you know what I mean? He missed 6 games before he came back in for the Southampton game. So
gotta give him some time.
Yeah, it'll come good, man. Like, let's have faith in Gabriel. Like, this guy won 3 out of 4 player of the month for Arsenal. So
that's true. I think we're quick to kind of like, if you have one bad game, then it's like they write you off, right?
Yeah. But Gabriel, you can afford that too because he's just come to Arsenal. But for some of the other guys at Arsenal, no, I don't write them. I don't write off for them.
Exactly. So answer this question from Aslan Khan. Why can't we play 2 left-footed CBs? What do you think about that?
No, just you can.
You can.
You can. The thing is, there's this myth that if you got 2 centre-backs that are left-footed or even right-footed, whatever, that they can't. No, come on, man. They're professional footballers. So it's a good question. So now they can, mate. They can. It's just I would prefer, not prefer. I would say that Holding and Gabriel would be the mainstay, but Mari's actually done well since he's actually had a run of games in the team and until the injury, shall I say.
Right. Very true. Very true. So for me, this game kind of just boiled down to us not being able to create enough chances and to create enough pressure on Aston Villa. Hold on, I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Is that me or was it you?
Not sure. You guys hold on really quick. I'm getting some echo. Let me mute you real quick. Okay. Yeah, when I mute you, I don't get as much feedback. So let me see. Yeah. Do you have anything else up? Like, do you have the stream up on your side or no?
No. I can double check it. Let me see. Let me see. No, I should be all good. I should be all good this end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all good this end.
I get a little bit of feedback. Hold on real quick.
Okay.
Let me see if I can make it a little bit better for us.
I mean, I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything. Like, you seem all right to me when I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you from like the beginning. Like, there's nothing. But if you can hear it from your end,
there's just a little bit of feedback on my side. So yeah, we'll just do it like this. Okay. Perfectly fine. All right. So in this game, to me, it just kind of boiled down to us not being able to create enough chances. We weren't able to, sustain consistent pressure, the entire game. And ultimately, once we gave that goal away, we gave Aston Villa a game plan to just kind of sit back and defend the box and play on the counter. And even with having Pepe, Saka, Odegaard, Aubameyang, ESR, all of our big guns out on the field, we still weren't able to create chances. Do you see this as an ongoing issue in Arteta's offensive plan? Because it seems like if teams are smart enough to just kind of sit back once they get the goal, we're unable to break them down. Is this just something that all teams deal with, or is this like a systematic issue that Arteta needs to fix going forward?
I'll see if I can answer that probably in two parts. The first thing, like with the creativity side, with the guys that were playing yesterday, for example, or come on as subs, whatever way you want to look at it. So Aubameyang's out of form, Willian's out of form, Odegaard just started, so that's 3 players already. So then the emphasis and the over reliance on Saka and Smith Rowe is too much, and obviously when they don't play well, Jess, then we're going to look ordinary, and it doesn't help when you go 1-0 down to a side that are very good, has got the players within their team, Villa, to hurt you on the counter. I actually don't think Villa played. I actually don't think Villa were that great yesterday. Defensively, they was very good, to be fair to them. I don't think they was that great, but but when you've got the goal, when you go 1-0 up, it makes it very difficult for teams to break teams down. But I saw a comment, I think a tweet, was it yesterday, that maybe possibly, it's going to sound crazy, but like teams will probably work Arsenal out a little bit in terms of the formation they play with regards of Emil Smith Rowe and Saka. I don't know. I think that's a bit too early to say that, but because the thing is, this is not a recent thing with Arsenal in terms of creativity. This has been going on for time.
Yeah.
So I can see. There's 2 ways you can look at it, but that's the way I saw it yesterday. Like, you got players out of form, who are your creative players or go-to players to score goals.
Yeah.
In the game that you're chasing. So it's Arsenal got into areas, Jess, right? I don't know, you might disagree or agree. Like, we got into areas, but our final pass was terrible.
It usually is. Like, we have a hard time using our brain once we get into that final phase. Like, and I mean, I'm not sure how you feel about this, but to me, you know, the risk versus reward of having somebody like Hector Bellerin bombing forward doesn't really reap the rewards that I feel like it should, because he gets into the position and usually either the shot is too soft and doesn't really work the keeper, or the final ball is so dire that we can't really capitalize on it. And then what they do is they just kick it down his side and start running back towards our goal. You know, so I do agree with the final ball not being good enough, but I also think that we have to think about the substitutions that were made too.
Oh, don't get me started.
When you have like 10 players behind the ball, you know, what you need is chaos and confusion, and you also need thinkers. You need both. You need thinkers that are going to be able to unlock doors, but you also need chaos merchants that can move those defenders around. And we just didn't have that. Personally, I feel like bringing in Willian instead of maybe even like Ceballos was an issue, because to me, Willian does not add anything in terms of chaos, nor does he add any football IQ to help unlock doors. I'm not sure what Arteta was trying to achieve by bringing Willian on, but it wasn't, he didn't do anything. Unless Martinelli was injured, which I'm sure he wasn't because he was on the bench, that was the substitution to make to me, instead of like Willian at all. And even maybe Aubameyang. How do you feel about the substitutions and their, you know, just how the substitutions were really just blah? They didn't really do anything for us.
Again, Mikel Arteta is all getting a bit of feedback from my end now. Let me take my mic out. Let me see if it makes a difference.
Well, now we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
that's better. Yeah, I just took my microphone out. But no, with Arteta, this is nothing new. Just like the substitutions is just baffling. Like, and the thing is, the problem with the substitutions, they're not proactive, man. They're reactionary. Like I said it on the live watch along that I did on someone else's channel. That, can anybody tell me when has Mikel Arteta done a halftime substitution this season? That wasn't enforced. Yeah, and that wasn't enforced. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and I can't remember, and I've got good memory, but it's what I'm saying. It's too late. His thinking's too late, man. Like the substitutions, like Aubameyang for Lacazette, for me, that it made sense because Lacazette, I think fitness-wise, just like, to me, you get the better, 60, 70 minutes you get out of him, then he looks absolutely, he looks finished. Like, he does. But I didn't have an issue with that. I wasn't on starting Aubameyang, if I'm being honest with you. I think when you play that system, the 4-2-3-1, you have to start Lacazette up top. It just makes sense. He holds the ball up better. But, I mean, the Odegaard one for Cedric, when that happened, I thought, okay, I don't mind you bringing him on, but, like, basically we play 5 at the back. That's what I saw. And you're trying to win the game. I mean, trying to get back into the game. And as for the Williams substitution, oh my God, where do I start? I couldn't believe it.
What were we trying to achieve? Like, that's what I want to know.
The first thing I thought, right, was obviously Partey was an injury. So I was thinking, maybe, you know what, Mikel Arteta's probably had to change his mindset in terms of who was going to come off or who was going to come on. Sorry, who's going to come off. But even then I thought about it, it don't make sense because we're still losing the game. Like, we need to get back into the game. You put on a striker. Why are you putting on a guy that's had 2 shots on target in over 25 games? I don't need to. Listen, he's lucky I wasn't in the press conference. I would have asked him. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And you know what?
Something that he needs to really work on. I know he's inexperienced, but I consistently question his substitution, his ability to manage the game while it's happening. Like, it just seems like he's, like you said, he's reactionary, and he's so risk adverse that he doesn't just like throw it. You know, like Arsene used to do that. Like when we were losing, he would throw the kitchen sink at it, get all the attackers on, and just say, go, forget it. At that point, did it really matter if we lost 1-0 or 2-0 or 3? We were losing the game. But it did kind of seem like, even though we took off a fullback, we were still playing with tons of people in the back. And that's probably because he was afraid of getting done on the counter. At this point, you need points, baby. You need points, Mikel. You need points, not fine margin.
Madness.
It is.
You know what summed it up yesterday? That Arsenal performance. And I don't get angry very often, but I was fuming. We're losing the game, right? We're in injury time. And when I mean injury time, I'm talking probably 20, 30 seconds left. You're probably going to come into refereeing, which we'll definitely talk about. And we get a free kick. Now, I'm thinking, all right, they're going to put the ball in the box. Send Gabriel up. Send the whole army up. Try and get this goal. They take a short free kick. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe it.
We don't think.
I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I thought that summed up that performance.
It really did.
That's where I do feel sorry for Arteta. I'll be honest. I don't. When your players are on the pitch, 30 seconds to go, and you're 1-0 down, and your players decide it's a good idea to go and take a short free kick. Madness.
It's nuts. It's nuts. So something I did want to go back to as well is, like, I'm a huge Thomas Partey fan. Like, I'm obsessed. Like, I feel like I willed him to the club. Like, if you saw that in the chat, tell me you saw that. Like,
yes, they saw it, but believe it's coming.
So, I feel like I willed him to the club. Like, I'm obsessed with him as a player, but at the same time, it's like I'm starting to get afraid that he might be injury prone. You know, he's been injured 3 times since coming to Arsenal, with having like no injury record prior to coming here. Does this raise questions about backroom staff and maybe the physios at Arsenal, or is this just Arsenal tax? You know, something that just happens when you come to Arsenal is just our bad luck? Or do you think it's the league and the pace of the league is not allowing Thomas to have that adaptation time that he may need coming from La Liga?
I'm going to take it in reverse what you asked me. So the latter bit of it, maybe slightly, it may be a little bit to do with coming into another league, but he's that good a player. I think he can adapt. The first part, I've had a massive issue with this football club for a long time. Now, I understand injuries happen in football for various different reasons, but the funny thing, it's not even funny, but the funny thing is, when people saying about the January transfer window, right, that we just had, I said, to be honest with you, know what I want to come in? I want a fitness coach. Bring in 10 of them if you have to bring in. Arsenal, for some reason, I don't know what it is, that these players come to Arsenal to get injured. Like you mentioned, Thomas Partey had a faultless injury record. Now the man's been out for, I don't know how many months he's been out for. Hopefully it's just for, I think it was muscle fatigue or cramp yesterday. Hopefully that it was, so he won't be out for next week or whatever. But I don't understand what's going on at this football club, man. With the amount of money involved with Arsenal and technology and sports science, what is going on at this football club that these players cannot seem to get fit, or they pick up the most minute injuries that they're supposed to be out for a couple of weeks? They're out for like 2 months. I don't know what's going on. To me, it's baffling. So I don't think he's injury prone, Jess. I just think he got rushed. He picked up a minor injury originally, right? When we come off against Villa. Then he was out for ages. He gets rushed back for the North London derby, which didn't help because quite clearly he wasn't ready. But yeah, man, this club just drives me mad. Just like it's not just Thomas Partey. There's been systemic problems, man, at this football club with fitness issues.
I also think that it may, like this, maybe this is just me, but it feels like whenever we bring in a new signing, maybe they feel that sense of like, you know, I'm here to make a change. You know, they come in with huge price tags or huge expectations or something. And I think the other players are looking for somebody to come and save them as well. And when I watched Thomas Partey play against Aston Villa the first time when he got injured, what I really saw was a player that was frustrated because he didn't feel like his teammates were doing what they were supposed to be doing. So he's running up there, rushing the goalkeeper, and that's when he pulled his muscle. Then when we played against Tottenham, you could see that he was desperate to make an impression in that game. He wanted to be the difference. And again, he's almost overcompensating because the team at that point was playing like crap, like absolute crap. Then he gets injured again. And I just feel like some of our players, even like Martinelli is this way too, where he tries to spur the team on to get the team to start going by their own work rate. And that ends up in more injuries. Sometimes I just feel like there's certain players that, even like Kieran Tierney, they play themselves into the ground because they're trying to overcompensate for the lack of whatever the rest of the team is doing. Because some players, I've never seen them get injured, and I feel like it's just because they don't even really. When's the last time we saw Aubameyang sprint? Like, really? You know, it's like we have some players that play out of their skin, they get injured, and we have others that just kind of, you know, even Saka, like at some point he's going to break down as well. He has too much pressure on him. I think when we bring in new players, sometimes the pressure of feeling like they need to be the one, especially like Thomas Partey, I feel like a lot of his injuries are more based on like doing too much, trying to overcompensate. But that's just me. That's when I'm looking at him, I'm like, calm down. You can't do it all. You know, I know you want to do it all because you're like, what is this? You know, like, let's be real. Thomas came from one of the best teams in Europe. Atleti is a really good team. So he's probably never seen some of the shambolic stuff that he's seen at Arsenal so far, you know, but that's just me. So let's see. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. I know you're big and like talking about like racism in football and stuff like that. And the reason why I wanted to bring this particular instance up is because I put out a tweet during the game when Saka was getting kicked to death during that game. And he was unprotected by the referee, and he was being kicked by Jack Grealish, somebody who is constantly protected by the referees. They are standing over, you know, as soon as you touch him, tweet, okay, yeah. And it's like a yellow card here, yellow card there. No real yellow cards except for the scenario or situation with Konsa that I think some people thought could have been a red card. Why do you think it is that certain England nationals or internationals are protected, like Kane, Harry Maguire? They're protected from red cards and yellow cards, and they're protected from, you know, getting injured and all that kind of stuff, versus somebody like Saka, who's a young player. You know, a lot of people were saying that maybe it's because, I hate to say it, maybe it's because he's black. What do you think? Why do you think some people are protected and others aren't? What do you think that the difference is there? This is a more serious conversation. I hope that I brought it up. But I know that this is something that like you talk about, you know, on your channel. So what do you think? Is it just, are we just looking too much into it, or maybe there is a little bit of that in there?
That's the first time that's been put to me, really, in terms of looking at it that way. Because I can definitely talk about the favoritism things happen for a long time in terms of probably English players in the national team. But yeah, Kane scored Maguire. I mean, with the Maguire one, for example, I mean, listen, that he was banged to rights. Let's be honest. But with the Saka thing, right? I don't know, Jess. I don't know with that. I don't know if it's you can. Yeah, I wouldn't blame someone if they actually thought, you know what, maybe there's something a bit more in this as to why you're protecting certain guys or establishing internationals, and you might look at one of the brothers a little bit more favorably. Put it that way. But with the Saka thing, right? In regards to like touching on the game yesterday, I'm going to come back to what you sort of like the original question. To me, I can't see why that wasn't given as a red. With the content, to me, I don't think the Villa player. I think it was Matty Cash would have got across. That's me personally. People making excuses. Oh, Saka was still 30, 40 yards out. Rubbish. Because I guarantee that same thing happened in another game. More than likely, it would have been given as a red card. As for the Jack Grealish thing, right? Someone said it in the chat when I was doing the live watch along on someone else's channel. Yeah, the referee bottled it to book him because he should have got a yellow card when he did. And the thing is, he actually got a yellow card, Grealish, right? For a free kick that he should have got, which is crazy. So yeah, we'll come on to referees, but yeah, the just with the racing thing, I don't know, you know, I think if this happens with Saka in terms of like maybe not getting protective treatment, should I say? Because the only player I can think of in terms of black players that were kind of quite vocal in terms of how they were treated, but that's more so to do with how they was getting kicked all over the pitch was Wilf Zaha. And I actually think when he came out and said that a couple of years ago, I think it worked to his benefit now. I 100% believe that. So listen, it doesn't hurt to speak up, man. It might upset some people, but listen, free speech, man.
I mean, I think that, you know, this also goes back to like, it was just, I mean, half of the comments on that particular tweet were like, it's because he's not white. You know, so I had to bring it up because I'm like, do people really think this? That's, you know, I just couldn't believe that. Like when I watch certain England internationals play, they get so many calls, or they don't get called for certain things. I watch it, I see it, it's there. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. But you have a young kid coming up who's getting kicked to death. Yeah. Kicked to death.
Yeah.
And nobody gets a yellow card except for the guy that probably should have got a red for tearing him down in a goal scoring opportunity when he was the last man. I don't get it. You know, but Arteta, I think Arteta and the team need to be more aggressive about speaking up about the injustices that they feel when they're playing in these games. I think Arteta is a little bit too nice. When I watch Klopp and Pep and all these other coaches on the sideline, they're in the fourth official's ear. They're acting a fool. They go right into the press conference and say that they were done wrong. And then that puts the spotlight on the referees. If we really feel like we're being treated unfairly in some way, like you said, it does benefit to speak up. They don't want the light on certain stuff like that. But I just feel like even as a team, where was the retaliation? I know that it's like you have to be smart with it, but why are we not in Jack Grealish's face? Why doesn't anybody go to him and say, stop kicking Saka? I didn't see not one person be like, you know, what's going on? If the ball goes out, we don't even act like it's our ball. I see certain teams like Wolves and teams like that. If the ball goes out, even if they kick it out, they act like it's their ball. Yeah. You know, I just feel like overall as a team and as a club, we need to be more aggressive about this is our ball. That was a foul. And keep pressing it, or else it's just going to keep happening. You know?
No, just, you know what? You make a good point, you know. Before I'm going to come and say something. Russ is in the chat. Russ, do me a favor, retweet this and tell people to come and watch, man. Russ is my guy, man. Russ is all good.
Let me see.
Now, Jess, you make a wicked point because I'm not being funny. With the particularly with the Saka incident yesterday with Jonathan Konza, even us thinking, you know what, Arsenal, man, like the players. And I don't listen. I'm not advocating you go and grab up the referee, but just go and apply some pressure, man. Like put some pressure on the officials. Like go and harangue them. Like come on, man. Like, but you're right, they don't do it, man. And then you know what? It's when people accuse the Arsenal players of being soft and weak mentality, and I would apply it to something like that yesterday, 100%, because you should have been in the referee's face.
Yeah,
it should have been. I agree with you 100%.
Like this is your star boy. This is your player. Without him, we're nothing at this point with Saka. So players like Xhaka, players like Lacazette, I expect you guys to be in the referee's faces and being like, can you stop him? Or even Jack's face. I love Jack Grealish, but he was kicking the crap out of our best player. And I didn't see not one Arsenal player go up there and say, if you kick him again, I'm going to mess you up or something. Just
it's true, man. And you know what, Jess, as well? You know what as well, Jess? Like, I know Arsenal wouldn't do it. I know the club wouldn't do it. But they, within the last week, right, the Arsenal Football Club, even if they wasn't going to get anywhere, Jess, they should have applied some pressure on the FA, go out in the media, trash talk anyone, officials, referees, I don't care. Because in this, we have, listen, Jess, you might have seen it, but speak to any Arsenal fan of any generation, right? Mm-hmm. We have Mike Riley, who's the head of the PGMOL, right? He did arguably probably one of the worst ever refereeing performances in 2004-2005 season when we lost our unbeaten record at Old Trafford. That's one of the worst refereeing displays I've ever seen in my life. It's unbelievable. So when you've got someone like him heading the officials in this country, what are you going to expect? He shouldn't even have a job, and he's been there since 2009. It's crazy. So no, Arsenal should have, as a club, Jess, they should have come out and said something. I don't care if the FA turn it down or whatever. At least be seen to be applying pressure on the officials, because I'm not one for pulling up the official, Jess. But what I will say, and I get why some Arsenal fans get annoyed and they clip things and whatever, is because some of the officials is terrible. The decisions you've got. I cannot believe it. It's got to be personal.
I have I want to do just a specific show about my theory on why we don't get calls and why it's been like this for a long time. But I don't think people are ready for that conversation. So I'll put that, on the back burner for now. But I have a big theory on why we're treated different than the other big teams.
But Jess, before you finish on that, even one thing yesterday, and Arsenal fans, I'm with you with this, right? When I watched the match of the day highlights yesterday at the Arsenal game, even the commentator with the Lacazette incident, Lacazette's fouled the goalkeeper. I said, oh my God.
And he clearly pulled him down. It was clear.
Yeah. It was clear. There you go. Yeah, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, even when we played against Southampton, well, actually, let me go back to somebody like Tim Howard. Yeah. I'm American. I want to love you. You played for Manchester United, but I always put that to the side because you're American, but you idiot. He actually says out of his mouth that Luiz's tackle on William Jose was rash and out of control and so much ill discipline. What's
he talking about? Is he serious?
Yeah, I know that they pay you and you're trying to keep those coins in your wallet, but come on.
Unbelievable, man.
What he'll do for money is insane to me. I'm like, it was rash. Like, what do you mean? He didn't even barely touch him.
Jess, a lot of these pundits, I don't listen to half of them, if I'm being honest.
The talking heads, yeah.
That's it, man. Yeah, tell them, man. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but that was, and then even during the Southampton game, I remember Lacazette got cooked in the box. Yeah. And they said, oh, it's a flop. It's a flop. Just like that. It's flop. I'm like, do you watch Martial play?
Yeah.
Do you watch Rashford play? Do you watch Bruno? Whatever.
Salah.
Yeah, they all flop. Are you serious?
Vardy, all of them. Yeah, all of them.
It's a part of the game now. So
don't get me started.
So we've dropped 6 points at the beginning of a tough run. Our next 5 games are really, really tough. Harry, if you're still in the chat, I know you put the games up on Twitter, and I'm scared. I am scared. We're going to play Leeds next, which is a team that we typically struggle against. So what do we need to do to get back on track? What do you think? If you could name like maybe 3 things that you would like to see Arteta do in the next game, on the field or off the field, to get these boys back in line so that we can, maybe grab some points, what would you like to see?
Gosh, how long have you got, Jess, man? The first thing, I mean, obviously, the first thing, proactive substitutions, not reactive. That will help in terms of the game management. But your players should be doing that on the pitch anyway. One thing I'll do personally myself, Jess, is I'll say a prayer before each game, because you don't know what you're going to get with this team. You generally do not know. That's why I never said. That's why when we went on this little run, Jess, right? And I saw Twitter world getting carried away, man, and talking top 4, and I'm like, no. I was like, Arsenal fans, don't do this to yourself, man. Trust me, don't do it to yourself. The way we're gonna get back on track, to be honest, just the honest answer is I've got no idea. Just pick the right personnel. Sounds simple, as long as they're not injured, and proactive substitutions. Honestly, we know the best formation is the 4-2-3-1. It's obvious. One of the tough decisions he has to make is, if you're going to play that formation, said it before, you can't play Lacazette and Aubameyang. It's one or the other. Right. Period. Mm-hmm. Keep Pepe in, because he didn't do anything wrong. Really. He's not. Yeah, he's not. He's not in Ballon d'Or form, but he's got a run of games for once in his Arsenal career, and he's doing okay. But Jess, you know what? This score could be anything, because Leeds are not exactly a team that parks the bus. Even when they got beat by Manchester United 6-2, that game could have ended up 7-0. I mean, Bielsa it doesn't matter who he's playing against.
We know how they're going to play. There's no question.
Yeah, just go and attack. So I actually went for an Arsenal win, unbelievably, even though with what I've seen. But I think we might 3-2 probably.
But yeah, I'll still run of games, man. If we continue to drop points, I don't want to hear anything like I said this the other day. I don't want to hear anything about top 4, top 6, top nothing, not winning no Europa League, nothing, because we are dropping points in silly scenarios every single game. There's no reason why we shouldn't beat Leeds. None. I don't see any reason. They are crap at the back. They cannot defend. So we can defend. So I expect us to stop them and them not to be able to stop us. Like, that's what I expect. And I looked for a response. I knew it wouldn't be there against Aston Villa. We didn't get it. So let's just tack that response onto this Leeds game. I want to see something different. I want to see us start out quick, not give up a goal in the first couple minutes, or a silly red card, or any bull crap. It's like, and then that always brings me back to, well, actually, I'll ask you that question after, but it brings me back to Arteta and how he sets the team up, or how he gets teams up for games.
Yeah.
But, before we get to that, I wanted to ask you, if we do fall out of European competition this season, or next season we're not in European competition because we don't qualify, for you, what does that mean for the project that we're building right now? What does that project look like outside of Europe, outside of European competition? If we don't have it, we don't get the money that we're used to having, so that's going to affect the way that we move in the market. But you see teams like Aston Villa, West Ham, Everton, these teams, and even Leicester, these teams are going to re-up again. They're not in the same situation as us. They don't have big players on high wages like we do, so they have more wiggle room. So for me, I'm looking at it like, can we afford to be outside of European competition, and does that change the scope of the project moving forward if we are outside? What do you think it looks like?
Jess, you know what? I keep hearing about projects from people. I keep hearing about process. Them 2 words, I'm banning them straight away. That's the first thing I'm going to say. The problem we got, Jess, right? European football or not, is people talk about top 4 and we need to get back into the Champions League. Let me tell you something, right? Our last few league positions, Wenger's last 2 years, we finished 5th and 6th. Emery's first season, we finished 5th. We should have got top 4. Last season, we finished 8th. People keep talking about the Europa League, right? Arsenal Football Club have not won an European trophy since 1994. We've lost 4 European finals in a row. Our football club, can you imagine a club of our size, right? Has only ever won 2 European trophies. So I know people talk about, we got the Europa League, but listen, we got a tough last 32 round game against Benfica. And we're talking about top 4, and people kept saying, and they're right, we need to be looking over our shoulder, in the league. Because there are teams that were, this has been the case for 2 years. And Everton, a Leicester, a West Ham.
Leicester has already replaced us as a top 4 contender. They're there already. So
and look what's happened, because the thing is, you see with Arteta, right? Because I don't trust whatever the board whatever they would do, even if they got rid of him, they're not going to get rid of him, Jess. I'm telling you now.
There's talks of a contract extension as we speak.
They're not going to get rid of him because he weren't bought in to win the league. I would love to know what his remit was when he had the discussions with whoever at the time in the Arsenal board. Was it to get us playing attractive football? Was it to get top 4, top 6? I don't know what it was.
Right.
So when people talk about process and what's the next stage we're going to do, you know what? I'll be honest with you. There's going to be a lot of pain, man. Look at Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool, right? It took them almost 30 years to win a league title. They've had some unbelievable managers, fantastic footballers. Arsenal have not won a league title in 17 years. I don't think we'll win the league in the next 10 years.
I don't see it either.
No, I don't see it. So I don't know what the process is, man. I mean, or these projects, or whatever. I think you use the word project, but we're in a mess, man, because
we are. I mean, because I really do look at teams like, I think James Benge yesterday had said that we lost to a well-organized team that had better players than us on the pitch. That's scary to me. When people are starting to say that Aston Villa has a better team than Arsenal, that's scary to me, because it's like if they're already performing better than we are, West Ham consistently performing better than we are, Everton performing better than we are, Leicester performing better than we are. If they get to the summer window and improve their squad and we dither around and still don't do anything, or we don't improve enough to compensate for what we already are lacking and then get ahead of them.
Yeah.
How far behind are we going to be? There's only a couple of spots, available for European competition. And right now we are floundering around 10th. The European spots are not going to go all the way down to 10th. They're not going to rejig them around and all of a sudden in 10th place is European competition. That's not happening. So for me, it's like, if it's very likely that without a unrealistic run at this point, we will be outside of European competition for the first time, which, I mean, look how we thought we'd be out of top 4 for 1 year. Now look.
It's 5 years, isn't it? 5 years this year, I think, is it? Or 5 or 6, whatever, how many years it is, not sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're in a really strange position where if this summer to me is do or die, if we don't improve the squad enough to overtake the teams that have already jumped ahead of us, we're done, because we're not going to be able to ever catch up,
Just, you know what it is as well? Like we're 10th, right? As you said, Leeds, Palace and Southampton have got a game in hand. Now, if results go badly for us, we could be down to 12th, 13th. I keep hearing people talking about top 4, right? Obviously, as a fan, I want Arsenal to do well and be in Champions League and actually make an attempt to win it. But I know that's even difficult as it is. But we're a top 4 club by name and only name. In reality, we're top 10. That's a big difference.
Speak that. Say it again. Say it again for people. I want them to understand this. Say it one more time.
Yeah, in name we are a top 4 club, and that is it. The reality is we're top 10. Period. And the thing is as well, Jess, right? I know people were talking about at the time before we had the game yesterday that Arsenal got 17 points out of 21 and 1 defeat in 7 and third defensive the best record in the league. But if you sort of flip it the other way, we got 1 point in 9. Aston Villa done their first league double over Arsenal since the start of the Premier League in 92-93. I mean, listen, listen, as much as I'm not going to be one of them fans that are just going to be positive for the sake of being positive, man. As I keep telling people, your own set of eyes don't lie to you in what you see.
Right.
And there you have it.
Yeah, I think so. I think whenever I see, and then this also kind of, I guess I'll bring this one up to you too. This kind of, because it kind of ties into what we're talking about right now, is that's why I was talking to people about Martinelli and Saka and how they're such good players with such good promise that at a certain point, if we're outside of European competition for 1 season or 2, we're looking at losing them. And I got a lot of pushback about that. And oh, well, Saka, he loves Arsenal. But Saka's also a very ambitious person. You can see at 19 that he's hungry. He's not going to stay around in a project that's dead.
100%.
If we finish not this season, but the next season with Leicester, Everton, Aston Villa, West Ham, and whoever else decides to actually improve their squad ahead of us, I don't see him staying. I don't see Martinelli staying. And then we're in a position where we're losing some of our best players because we're not able to catch up. Then we're also looking at the summer windows where we used to try to have to compete with Manchester United and or Liverpool or even like Bayern Munich for players and stuff like that. We're now looking at having to scrape by and give people huge contracts to come to Arsenal because we're competing with Leicester. We're competing with West Ham for players. We're competing with Aston Villa for players. So what I'm saying is that, like, realistically, Arsenal has huge expectations in terms of the club, but this team is not ready to compete. It's nowhere near. So we need to be really careful about talking about European competition like it's something that we have a divine right to be in, because quite frankly, we don't. And there's a huge possibility that we won't make it, and it's just the reality. Some people, I think, are going to be really shocked at how long this project is actually going to take.
Yeah.
And that's if it goes right. We may be sitting here for a while, and even though we played some pretty patterns and we look like we're doing a little bit better, the results are actually saying different, so also, I guess my last question before we actually get to just some questions is, how do you feel about Arteta? Are you convinced by him? How do you feel about what he's done so far?
It's a difficult one because, for one, he shouldn't have been putting that. But if Arsenal were serious, if they were ambitious, they wouldn't have put Mikel Arteta in that position in the first place. And the scary thing is, like I said before, they're prepared to give him the job before Emery. So the thing is, you know what? One thing I will give him credit for, Jess, right, is defensively we look a lot better. We have a better defensive shape, but that still doesn't mean that we don't need to recruit properly within the squad, whether it be a right back, centre back, midfield player, striker, whatever. But he has got the defensive aspect good, and so that I will give him credit for. There's, like I said, there's been a few occasions I felt sorry for him because, for example, the Wolves game, like, you have the first half they had Arsenal, and actually they're probably their best 45 minutes of the season. But we go in at 1-1 with 10 men. We go down to 9 men in the second half. As a coach, what are you supposed to do when that second half happens the way it did?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. But one thing I will sort of pick him up on is partly is man management, which is an issue. You treat certain people differently. I'd love to see him be a bit more proactive with the substitutions. I mean, God, there's been too many games this seasons where it's been tough to watch, man. But Jess, is like I said to you, the board are not going to get rid of him. This guy's gonna get the summer window. The only way they're going to get rid of him is if he's in the bottom three. That is the only set of circumstances that this guy's gone. So they're prepared to give him a chance, man. But he has to help himself, man. He has to help himself. And I don't think it's actually helped that the club promoted him from head coach to first team manager, because why are you giving a man more responsibility in his first job in management? That makes no sense to me at a club like Arsenal.
Let him just be a coach. Let him learn his job before you start giving him more jobs.
Yeah, but he will get the summer. He will get it.
Of course, I think so, and I think that's realistic. To make sure that we give him enough time to actually create a semblance of a team in his identity, the way that he wants it to be. And we've gotten rid of a lot of dead wood, which is is good, but there's still a lot of decisions, there's still a lot of decisions that we've made over the years that will affect what we're able to do in the market and things like that. So just because we got rid of some of the players doesn't mean that some of that is not there. And I know that, people, I saw some people in the chat are saying like, that's kind of like doomsday kind of talk, but I'm just saying realistically, like I like to talk about things in reality and not in like just in what we want to happen. Of course, I want us to go on an amazing run and make it into European competition, get the money, improve the squad. But I'm watching our team drop silly points all the time. So I can't say like, okay, well, of course there's a chance that we can get European competition. Do I think it's likely based on what I've seen and the teams that have games in hand? No, I don't. So I'm just saying like, so when we get to a point where we're in the summer and we're outside of European competition for the first time, that is going to change. I don't know if you guys know this, but, the Cronkies are not going to put a lot of money into the team. Like there's not going to be $100 million coming in to reinvest. We're going to have to getting rid of some of the players and releasing some of the money off of the wage bill. That's important and that's helped. But still, we still need to keep the lights on. We took out a huge loan that has to be repaid. So we can't sit here and think that all of a sudden everything is going to change because we got rid of players that realistically should have been gone like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. The damage is still there, so it's going to take a little bit longer,
That's the thing. Now, Josh, you make a good point, because the thing is, this is what I'm saying. Like, what do some of the Arsenal fans want us to come on podcasts and trying to say that we should be happy? Oh, let's just back our like it's not that simple, man. Like I said, someone put in the chat, like I said, the eye test, man. Like, look at what you're watching, man. Teams are coming to the Emirates and walking away with 3 points. They're the one at Arsenal for about over 35, 40 years. Wolves, Leicester, Burnley. Villa just done a double over us for the first time in over 27 years or whatever it was. Come on, man. Like, people, like, listen, I want Arsenal to win league titles and quadruples, but as I said, Liverpool hadn't won the league for 30 years. They had players like Suarez, Gerrard, Sturridge when he was fit, Sterling first coming into the team, and they still couldn't win the league. Trust me, man. Come on, man. Like, Arsenal fans, be real with yourself, innit? Like,
we just have to be more, I think, realistic about what this is going to look like moving forward. All right, you guys, go ahead and get your questions in. We're going to do some questions. Albert's going to answer them for you. I'm going to answer some of them as well.
I'll try my best.
Yeah. So here's the first one from one of my favorites. Bulgarian Gunner. Pineapple pizza, yay or nay? What do you think?
No, man. No. Sorry, bro.
I don't really like it. I've tried it and it doesn't really work for me, but I love pineapple. I just don't think
not on pizza.
On pizza. Sorry. I don't know if you like it, but I don't.
I like it, but it's no. I'll have to. No, not on its own, man. Not on its own. No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if I'm starving, I'll eat it. But only if I'm starving. I'm not ordering it. Let's see. Do you think promoting Arteta for coach to manager was a mistake? For me, he seems to have a big chip on his shoulder since. You want to expand on that because you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it was a mistake. I look at it and I think, yeah, but I take the point that he won the FA Cup last season. So, people like to say he's got a bit of credit in the bank in inverted commas. But if someone at Arsenal wants to explain to me how you make a novice coach the first team manager in his first job at Arsenal Football Club, come and tell me, because I don't understand it. You're giving a guy more responsibility with a struggling team. Come on, man. And he wanted to have his fingers in all the pies of Edu and recruitment and transfers and this and that. Come on, man.
And finding the mole, things that are just totally.
Arteta needs to get, I don't know, a more experienced, coaching staff. Yeah, man, because it's a mess.
It is.
We got in a set piece coach, right? Yeah, I think someone said that we've only scored 3 goals from set pieces from corners. Come on, man.
We're better defensively on them, because if you remember last season, we were horrific. Basically, if you got a corner, it was a goal. But we don't look like scoring. I think our thing is either we're going to swarm the keeper and like all of our players go and swarm the keeper for some reason, or we do some really crazy short corner that doesn't even beat the first man once we actually try to get the cross in. So offensively, we need to work on that. But I think the key is that he hasn't brought anybody experienced. He's brought in a lot of young people like him, but there's nobody experienced. And reality is like we're all on this bus together, being driven around on the Arsenal bus by a bunch of people with no licenses. Edu, he has no real experience. Arteta, no experience. Backroom staff, no experience. Cronkies are not involved. Like, they're kind of like absentee owners. So we're just all on this ride together, trying to see if we're going to run into a wall or not. It's really strange to me how there's nobody. And that's why I was saying, like, either the coach needs to be experienced or the director of football needs to be experienced. And neither of them are. I'm still not convinced by Edu either. I feel like if he doesn't get it right this summer, we need to cut ties with him and go ahead and hire somebody with Ralph Ragnick is available. What are we doing? I think he's available. There's
Mark Overmars has been available for about 10 years, probably.
Yeah, come on now. Okay, so next question. Hold on, I saw one. So, should David Luiz come back in for the Leeds game? I'm gonna tell you right now, no.
Russ, I love you, Russ, but no. If it's me, I wouldn't have him anywhere near the team. I just honestly, this guy. I saw someone put out a tweet yesterday. It must have been a tweet. I'm sure it was, where they're saying, Rob Holding needs somebody experienced next to him. I'm like, but he's got that, but he's more prone to more errors than you. Like, it just, I don't want him any. Russ, I love you, man, but I don't want him anywhere near the team.
Me neither. I saw a good question here. Oh, where is it? Oh, there it is. So in the summer window, how many outs and ins do we need and in what positions? So
that's an easy question, but
I think, I want to be real. I want to try to be as realistic as possible, because I know we're not going to be able to improve everything. I think that's the best way to answer this question. So I think we need a center midfielder, somebody of the profile, somebody athletic. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we need Basuma, and we need to figure out a way to get him to the Emirates. That's what I'm saying. Because if you see with Thomas, if he continues to get injuries, we don't have a player of a similar profile. He can play with Thomas or instead of Thomas. We're covering our bases. We're never in a position where we're looking at El Neni like, can he go in there and do a job? Like, because El Neni is not good enough at this point. You know what I mean? So for me, center midfield, if I think David Luiz should leave in the summer, no new contract. If Saliba stays out, then I do feel like we need to find a suitable partner for Gabriel. The reason why I say that is because I don't think we should build the defense around Holding. I think we should build it around Gabriel. I think we put enough investment into him to find him the right partner if it's not Saliba in the summer. So right-sided center back, center midfield, and I hate to say it, right back. And I need a new right back. I know everybody loves Bellerin, but I don't. And I think we need something new. I don't think we'll get a striker because we have congestion up top. And so I don't see a striker coming in, even though we probably need one. What do you think, Albert?
Right. Who shall I start with first? Anybody that's seen my views about the right back situation, I've said this has been an issue for years. Now, just the problem we've got, right? I might even upset some people in the chat. I don't think I will, but with sections of the Arsenal fan base, you have the Arsenal fan base that love the players more than they love the club. That's the first set. Then you've got the fans that sort of want the best for the club, and no one's bigger than the club. So that's why you get the clashes you get on Twitter. I'm telling you, 1,000,000%. I've said about we did a right back for years. Now people say to me about Bellerin had a ACL. Listen, anyone with any intelligence knows that when you have an injury like that, it takes time to come back. But I had an issue with Bellerin before the ACL. Defensively and offensively, he's not good enough. Like, I don't know what I need to say to make that clear to people. People see it, they just don't want to admit it. But right back 100%. If it was down to me, Jess, it's not even the bottomless checkbook. But bring me Tariq Lamptey or Max Aarons, bring me Basuma, and bring me Edouard from Celtic.
Yeah.
Sell Nketiah and sell Lacazette.
Yeah. That's I would love to see, and here's the issue with, of course, I'd like to sell Eddie and I'd love to sell Lacazette, but both of them will be within a year of their contract. There's no reason for Lacazette to leave Arsenal knowing that he's on the wrong side of 30. He's never going to get 200 grand a week from anybody else. I don't see anybody trying to buy him for what we think he's worth. I think the club thinks he's worth around 30 and he's not. So I have a hard time seeing Lacazette leave. Eddie should have been sold. Eddie shouldn't even be here. If I go back, I think Eddie should have stayed out on loan. If he's out on loan, we re-sign Balogun.
Yeah.
That's how I see that situation. He didn't get sold this past window. So again, he's going to be in the last 12 months of his contract with an agent that is really good at getting his clients good deals once they run their deals down. So we're in another situation where we don't have control over it. So for me, I would love to sell them and bring in Edouard, but also, who else is looking at Edouard? Leicester, because Vardy is done. So I'm not seeing how we maneuver.
You need to have, you're right. You need to have contingencies, man, because Aubameyang's not a spring chicken, Like you need to think. Arsenal need to plan now.
Yeah, they say they have plans, but to me, to let the January transfer window pass when people were interested in Nketiah and he did not leave, lets me know that we are not planning. We feel like we need all these players. What do we need a striker that? I mean, he's not getting into the team. He's only scored 12 goals in 4 years. What do we need to be keeping him here for? We could have sold him. So that's all I'm saying is that, like, yes, I would love to get rid of those players, and to get in a striker, I just don't see it because of the mess that we've kind of made, but definitely the right back, figure out what we're doing with Saliba. I'd rather Saliba come back in so we don't have to get another center back, 100%. But right back is outside of, what we have at the club. We need to buy one, and we need another center midfielder. I just think we're light in that area, and I don't really want to see if Thomas is out, we need somebody with that similar profile. So I think we kind of answered that.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, last question. I'm gonna pick the last one, and then we can get out of here. Let's see. Where are they, you guys? Where are the questions? I lost them. Oh.
Which one is it?
Here it is. We're going to do this one. Do you have faith in the Kroenkes in terms of moving Arsenal forward?
Is that a rhetorical question, Finnan? Because I don't have any faith in this guy. He's given Arsenal fans nothing to think we've got faith in this guy. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Arsenal have spent money over the last, 5-10 years. But let's be honest, man. Like, these guys don't have an interest, man. They're not. He's not an Abramovich. Abramovich cares about Chelsea. You can talk about Chelsea bought it all and sing all them stupid songs, but at the end of the day, I think they've won the most trophies in English football over the last 10, 12 years. Yes, I don't agree with their model, sacking manager left, right, centre, but that's their model. But you have a guy who has ambition in Abramovich. You have someone that cares. Kroenke doesn't have any of those feelings for Arsenal. You think Kroenke's worried about if we ever won a Champions League? Nah, man. He only turns up when we get to a final.
Yeah, you guys, I live 5 minutes away, walking distance from the SoFi Stadium, the Rams' new stadium.
Yeah.
I can tell you that he doesn't give a crap about Arsenal looking at that freaking stadium.
100%.
that is where his money is going. He's, you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You know, they're scraping, trying to figure out how to, you know, get fans in the stands here in America. So I don't think that we're going to see a lot of investment from them. We saw a little bit of PR spin in The Athletic that came out a couple months ago about how they have been putting money into the squad and all that kind of stuff. So, but I just don't see it. You know, I think the key for the Kroenkes at this point to get the most return out of their investment, because that's what Arsenal is for them, is to hire the right people to run the club for them that understand the game. And they've failed to do that since they've been in full control. And that's how we ended up with Raul, you know. So, you know, I don't have faith in them, but I'd like to think that they could hire better, because I mean, these are businessmen. You're rich. You should be able to figure this out, you know. So, you know, if they ever wanted to sell, they could, you know. But all right, you guys, that's going to be it. I know I missed some of the questions, but I couldn't answer them all. We couldn't answer them all, but I don't want the show to be too long, you know. But you know, I always, you know, come back and do a chat box show or something like later on this week, you know, so that we can get some of these questions out. But Albert, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Let people know where they can find you and what you're up to on the internet these days.
Yeah, Jess, it's a pleasure, man. No, after thank you for coming on my channel, man. And I need some female representation on there, and you're the first person to break that curse. So much love and appreciated, man. But yeah, Jess, you need to speak some of your American contacts, man. Get something going, man. Try and get this guy out of the club, man. Please.
I can't do anything about that. I wish somebody else would buy the club, but you know, they love you. I appreciate you for the invite coming on your channel. But yeah, guys, AlbertJTV, my Twitter handle's next to there, at AUMO57. Come and definitely come and subscribe to the channel, man. Absolutely. All right. Well, there you have it. I've been Jessica. I've been your host. You can find me on Twitter at @It'sJessinio. Smash the likes before you leave. Subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone. I need to have these videos up.